Alright, everybody, we're talking Impact Wrestling of the Week. It is February 23rd, 2017. We've been building up to this Impact for a long time. We've had subtle hints of change in management. We have the big wedding. We have the Hardys going to a Hillbilly Deluxe town and beating a team of guys who've been champions for 12 years. We saw the debut of Bad Bones take on Josh Barnett in his debut. We'll talk about that. Goddard keeps on sweeping up the Death Council or Death Crew Council. I don't know. They changed their names. Whatever. Death Crew. So there's that. There's some other stuff in between also. No Davey and Eddie though. But let's just kick it off. How we started off Impact this week. So started off Cody Rhodes kicked off. Cody. He's just Cody.
Yeah.
And Brandy Rhodes. She gets the last name though. They go out there. And what basically occurs is Cody's like, you know, you're Mini Moose. Ha 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 ha. Moose, get out here. Moose gets out there. He kicks him in the dick. There's no other way to say it. Cody kicks him in the dick, beats him up. Brandy's like, why?
And then hit him with crossroads.
Yeah, Brandy's like, why? And Cody plays the abusive husband angle, drags her out.
We're not playing this fucking Mini Moose bullshit.
So that's a plus. Yeah, I guess that's how we'll do Impact tonight, plus and minuses, and then we'll talk about the score. After that, we went to some Hardy stuff, where actually we'll talk about the Hardy stuff in the middle because we'll just wrap it all together because it was all throughout. After that, we had Eli Drake to take on Tyrus. No, they didn't. They didn't fight at all.
They said punch.
Eli Drake was like, I'm a finger poke doom you and you're going to lay down. Tyrus is like, no, I'm a finger poke you and you're going to lay down. And then Eli Drake was like, well, you know what? I'll give you a raise. And then Tyrus was like, I'm not shaking your hand, but I'll give you a hug. They hug. Eli Drake punches Earl Hebner. That's it. I put my finger in the middle. It's not an up because it wasn't too great, but it's not a down because it wasn't horrible. I think it's in somewhere in the middle because hopefully this will play into management because they really talk about management.
Hopefully this plays into something bigger than this goofball going back to his Funkadactyl gimmick.
Well, they kept on bringing up the management aspect, which I think is a big one there.
Yeah, that was the one thing. Like they really like hammered home. Hey, new management's coming in. It almost, and honestly, it's because me and you have been watching it. Yeah. It's still fresh in my head. It goes back to that whole WCW thing.
Mm-hmm.
They really like for the weeks leading up to Bischoff and Russo taking over. It's what they did.
And hopefully we will get what we
there would be
want.
Subtle hints and subtle changes. Like you would notice like a change here and a change there, just even by like the minuteness. And now they're even mentioning changes.
Mm-hmm. Also, no Impact Championship at all. That doesn't matter apparently at all. We haven't seen that in like 2 weeks, maybe 3. I think 2 weeks though, just to play it safe. So, no Drew Galloway. He was too busy at What Culture Pro Wrestling doing his thing most likely. So that's why he couldn't be off in TNA Impact Wrestling. Who knows? It's whatever. The Impact title probably is going to slowly be swept underneath the rug anyways with the new management. After that, Hardys, they go to Hillbilly Deluxe Town. The number one contenders are like, we are the Mid-Atlantic Outlaws. We are number one contenders. And then some hillbilly guy was like, these guys are our ticket out of here. Oh, by the way, before this, Matt Hardy has transformed. He's now an Egyptian god.
You can't.
And he infused his soul into Brother Nero. Think about that for a second. By the way, the dilapidated boat, it's golden now. It's going to hold all the titles. Yeah. Just throwing that out there. Not
and
to
it's going to
you.
Absorb them every time you set a new title in.
Yes, it's like an explosion of fireworks and stuff after. So basically they face the hillbilly team of who's been doing this for 12 years. Big spots during the match. A guy got thrown down the stairs with the garbage bin,
the rolling garbage pail thing.
Yeah. That happened. They got the titles. They went home. They threw the belts in the boat. The boat went pew. And yeah, that was it for the Hardys. And that's kind of a good thing because I feel like if we would have got overwhelmed, that would have been bad. But we got a good bit of everything, I feel like, except for the Impact title. We actually did get X Division this week, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Jesse Goddard took on Bram. Last week he took on Kingston, beat the crap out of him. This week took on Bram, and Kingston was at ringside. He beat Bram with Kingston. Think about that. Jesse Goddard's 2 wins over 2 members of the Death Crew Council, Death Count Council, whatever we're calling them. That is crazy, alright? All he needs to do is beat James Storm, and he's beating the entire faction. Oh, before we do that, Hardy stuff, thumbs up, by the way. If I forgot about my thumbs up, thumbs down. This right here is a big thumbs down. I'm not crazy for it, because I think this faction being steamrolled by Jesse Goddard isn't a crazy thing, especially because I'm not the biggest Jesse Goddard fan, but that's besides the point, especially when you have, technically they should be in a feud with EC3, Tyrus, and Eli Drake. Don't know why EC3's been gone for the past week or whatever. Eli Drake and Tyrus forgot about them, so that's whatever, but Goddard gets to go and steamroll those guys. Yeah, big thumbs down there. So, and after the match, he steamrolled them by throwing them over the ropes and whatnot, and beat them up. Yeah, I hate his theme song, by the way. Every time I hear it, it's very annoying. But besides the point, Jade comes out. She says, "Hey, I want the title." Rosemary comes out. She's like, "You're not gonna get the title." That's about it. It's a big thumbs down. That's the sad thing, because I want to see them have another Monsters Ball match, because the first one was good, but I just think the segment wasn't that great. So, after that, we had Sutter backstage doing his stuff, and the women doing their stuff, saying, "Oh, the wedding, you're the ring bearer." And Sutter's like, "Hey, I don't want to marry her." And then Mike Bennett's like, "Ha, I didn't want to marry either, but it is what it is, brother." And then he's like, "There's only one thing that can hold you over." And he holds the bottle that he's been drinking all night, because Mike Bennett's going to get drunk tonight. And he's like, "You get to consummate the marriage." So, yeah, a whole bunch of that. I put it as a thumbs up. It led to the main event, which I'm glad the wedding was the main event. As you see by our picture that we're talking with, it was a great ending, but we'll get to that. After the side stuff for the wedding and the Jade and Rosemary thing, we got Bobby Lashley comes out to commentate the match between Bad Bones, who has his debut. This is a guy who should have been in Death Crew, Death Count Council, whatever they're called. That guy looked like he was legitimate, and he could have, like, really been good for the faction as a fourth guy or third guy or whatever. Kingston's kind of, like, he laughs a lot. So I think that's where it's going to be his downfall. They're not going to take him seriously, as in the crowd and the fans. But I know the guy's ruthless, if you ever seen his stuff. So, besides the point, Josh Barnett comes out there. You cannot sell me on the fact that Josh Barnett is more deadlier, better than Bobby Lashley. You cannot sell me on that. From the simple standpoint that I watched this match against Josh Barnett and Bad Bones. Josh Barnett made him tap out, sure, but it wasn't a good match in any ways. Josh Barnett was not. He's. I don't know. I don't want to say he should stick on commentary, because like I'm not even crazy on his commentary stuff, because he doesn't have that that passionate voice, you know what I mean, for commentary. When he was on New Japan Access, it was a little here and there, but I just feel like him on the microphone in Impact isn't what it's trying to lead up to, you know what I mean? Especially because now he's getting the Impact title match. Yeah.
Yeah, does anyone have any idea why that's happening?
Not really. He kind of just showed up, said, "Hey, Bobby, I've been there in your corner for MMA, and I think I know you haven't been living up to your fullest potential." I call BS on that. If you've seen Lashley these last year, he's worked his ass off, in my opinion. So I think, he definitely gets some time to sit back and relax and laugh at everybody else going on in Impact for all he's champ, but that's whatever. I don't know. I just think they could have had a better match for Barnett in his debut match. I think it could have gone a lot better, in my opinion.
He should have fought someone who people would have cared about more.
Yeah, I think definitely if he would have just took on Galloway and beat Galloway, thumbs up there. Even though you beat your grand champion, thumbs up there for
even a James Storm
believability. I don't know James Storm, because James Storm's about to get steamrolled by Goddard, it looks like, but who knows? This match, big thumbs down. I definitely think Lashley was so not into it. I think Lashley was like one comment away from saying, "Hey, you don't got it anymore, you're out of shape." And I think he could have completely buried him on the microphone. I think, Lashley really played it nice. So, in terms of believability for some people, it's still there, but we'll have to just see how it pans out within the next week or weeks. I don't know if this Josh Barnett thing's going to be a long-term thing or if it's just going to be holding over some stuff. But I think we'll talk about this as a quick mention real quick before we get to our X Division match of the night for the title. Yeah, that happened. Co-main event. Cody Rhodes turns heel, all right? Cody Rhodes turns heel. And Eli Drake and Tyrus are both heels. We're having a lot of heels right now in TNA. Meaning someone's got to turn face, and especially because it's looking like EC3 is leaning more towards heel these past couple weeks, or last time we saw him at least. I feel like we really hinted a heel thing with him, but I feel like that could have been saved if he would have been with Eli Drake. In my opinion, I think how I would have done this differently, Eli Drake, EC3, and Tyrus should have all teamed up against DCC, so you could have had Eli Drake as a face, and then you could have done this Cody Rhodes heel thing, which would have thumbs up, because now we have to delay Cody Rhodes becoming, you know, an Impact champion, because Lashley's still heel, Lashley's bad guy. You know, Cody, that's not on his radar. Cody's going to be busy with Moose. So I think Lashley, I hope this thing with Barnett isn't too long of a thing, but, you know, we'll just have to see how that goes there. Co-main event time. Trevor Lee beat DJZ. Andrew Everett came out at the end and beat them up to save DJZ. Okay, thumbs in the middle. I think he definitely. I thought Andrew Everett should have came out like in the middle and interfered in something, but at least in terms of like, you know, screwing over Trevor Lee to you know, maybe not hot potato the title, but something. All right, the wedding, 2 thumbs up. Great. This right here, this was the show. This was TNA right here, in my opinion. So.
And how about that Aaron Rex performance too?
Yeah, Aaron Rex and Rockstar Spud, Flower Boys. They were the Flower Boys.
Fantastic.
Guy was fantastic tonight. I'm not crazy on the gimmick, but the guy was fantastic tonight.
The gimmick is weird. I gotta say, it's one of the stranger things I've ever seen.
Little Van Ness, she's like, you're gonna marry rich, you're gonna change, you're gonna wear good clothing now, you're not gonna wear that beanie, whatever. In the end, how do weddings end in professional wrestling? Chaos, exactly. Badly. So chaos breaks out. Braxton Sutter's like, I'm not gonna marry you. Little Van Ness. Maria says, Allie, you're fired. Allie says, I quit. Punch, kick. Robbie E comes out to beat up Mike Bennett. Punch, kick. Madison Rain comes out to beat up Sienna. Punch. Laura Van Ness is crying in the background. Braxton Sutter and Allie kiss. Thumbs up. That's how we end our show. Great.
Yeah, just a fantastic
just
job.
Great. It felt like a pay-per-view almost. Like it felt like it was like very.
That's why I said like literally like you couldn't have ended an episode better than that. That was incredible.
Yeah.
I'm not a person who normally like much that TNA puts out, but that was solid on their part.
What would you give it?
Solid.
What would you give it tonight?
I'd give it about a 7.5.
7.5.
Honestly, probably better than all the WWE programs.
The wrestling wasn't great. I'll say that. Wrestling wasn't great, but I think something that where I love professional wrestling is the story, because 2 guys wrestling in the ring, sure you can tell some bit of a story, but it's really when you get to know these characters outside of wrestling,
there's a reason
the
places like TNA and WWE are above places like PWG and all that shit, because all that shit's strict wrestling on ROH. Strict wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
There's a story to this, which is why it keeps people enthralled. It keeps people watching.
What would you give it tonight?
The lowest I can go with it is a 9.5.
Mm-hmm. The lowest I can go with it is a 9.
Is the lowest I can go.
I'll say my reasoning is mostly because wrestling wasn't really crazy tonight. The Cody Rhodes intro I felt like was a good thing. You know what I mean? I felt like you couldn't plop him in the middle of the show because there's so much in the middle of the show.
Yeah, like this was a very jam-packed episode. I even made the comment. I remember when I said, "Hey, why is Cody coming out first?" It seemed really weird because I hadn't watched anything on Twitter or anything, or I hadn't seen anything where they were like hyping up, yeah, Cody Rhodes is showing up. So I didn't even know he was showing up.
Mm-hmm.
So it felt really weird, like all of a sudden, like he's the one who opens the show. It's like, what?
Yep.
That's a really random thing. But then when you look at it, his thing was probably the most least crazy of all the shit that happened in the whole entire show.
Most definitely, and I think. next week will be interesting. I think next week will definitely be interesting. We have a lot to work with this week. It feels like this week was a very, it felt like it was a closing of a chapter. You know what I mean? Because now we get to see
of a new one.
We get to see all this management stuff. If that's going to happen next week, Moose and Rhodes is going to kick off. That's really
well. If
good.
You remember, I think this is the last of the previous tapings. So now.
So I don't know if next week's going to be a live episode or not, and who knows. So I think it'll be very interesting, to say the least. I think it'll be very interesting. So TNA, everybody. TNA. Until next week.